The Grand Hotel Monaco in Monte Carlo was experiencing one of its busiest evenings of the year, with the Formula One Grand Prix weekend, bringing an influx of celebrities, billionaires, and international dignitaries to the Principality. The hotel's marble lobby buzzed with activity as guests in designer evening wear moved between the bar restaurant and the casino, while uniformed staff members worked efficiently to manage the constant flow of requests and demands that came with serving such an elite clientele. The 22-year-old Isabella Martinez had been working the night shift at the front desk for only 3 months, having moved to Monaco from her small hometown in rural Spain to pursue her dream of working in luxury hospitality. She was still adjusting to the surreal experience of checking in movie star tech moguls and European royalty on a regular basis, but had quickly developed a reputation among her colleagues for professionalism, her attention to detail, and her ability to remain calm under pressure, even when dealing with the most demanding VIP guests. Tonight had been particularly challenging, with a constant stream of last-minute room changes, special requests, and complaints from guests who expected perfection in every aspect of their stay. Isabella had handled each situation with grace and efficiency, but by 11:30 in the evening she was exhausted and looking forward to the end of her shift at midnight, when her replacement would take over the desk. She was processing the final check-ins of the evening and updating room assignments when she noticed a man approaching the front desk. Simple black t-shirt, dark jeans, and a baseball cap pulled low over his face, his casual attire stood out dramatically among the formally dressed guests in the lobby, and Isabella's first thought was that he might be lost or possibly trying to gain unauthorized access to the hotel given the high-security environment during Grand Prix weekend. As Thiemann reached the front desk and removed his baseball cap, Isabella found herself looking at a face that seemed familiar but impossible. Her tired mind struggled to process what she was seeing, because the person standing in front of her looked exactly like Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous Portuguese footballer. But that couldn't be right, because why would one of the world's most recognizable athletes be walking around Monte Carlo alone at nearly midnight, wearing ordinary clothes without any security detail or entourage? And most importantly, why would he be approaching a hotel front desk when someone of his stature would typically have assistants or managers handling all travel arrangements? The logical conclusion was that this must be someone who happened to bear a strong resemblance to the footballer, perhaps a professional impersonator, or just a man with similar features who was used to people commenting on the similarity. "Good evening," the man said in accented English. "I have a reservation under Cristiano Ronaldo." Isabella's skepticism deepened as she heard him claim to actually be the real Cristiano Ronaldo, because in her experience the truly famous guests who stayed at the hotel never handled their own check-ins, and certainly never approached the front desk personally to request their room keys. They had assistants, publicists, and management teams who coordinated every aspect of their travel, leaving the celebrities themselves free to move through hotels without dealing with administrative details. Additionally, their real Cristiano Ronaldo would presumably be traveling with security personnel and would likely enter through private entrances rather than walking through the main lobby like an ordinary guest. Isabella maintained her professional demeanor while internally rolling her eyes at what she assumed was either an elaborate prank or a delusional individual who actually believed he was a world-famous athlete. "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't see any reservation under that name," she replied after checking the computer system, though she hadn't actually looked very carefully because she was certain this was not a legitimate booking. "Are you sure you have the right hotel and the right dates?" Hertonu was polite, but carried a subtle suggestion that he might want to double-check his information, or perhaps consider that he might be confused about his identity. The man's response was patient, but showed signs of mild frustration. "Yes, I'm certain about the reservation. It was made by my management team several days ago, fortnight through tomorrow evening. Can you please check again under Cristiano, or maybe under CR7, or possibly under my manager's name, Jorge?" The mention of Jorge Mendes gave Isabella pause because she recognized that name as belonging to a legitimate sports agent who represented several high-profile clients, but she still couldn't bring herself to believe that the casually dressed man in front of her was actually Cristiano Ronaldo. Her skepticism was reinforced by the fact that he wasn't behaving like other celebrities who had stayed at the hotel the previous month. They had seen Hollywood actors who arrived with entourages of assistants, bodyguards, and publicists, creating elaborate productions around their simple hotel stays. This man seemed too normal, too accessible, and too willing to engage in mundane conversations with hotel staff to be genuinely famous. "Sir, I've checked under all those names and I'm not finding any reservations." Isabella replied, maintaining her professional tone, while becoming increasingly convinced that she was dealing with either a confused individual or someone attempting some kind of elaborate scam. Perhaps you made your reservation at a different hotel in Monaco. There are several luxury properties in the area, and it's easy to mix them up during busy weekends like this. What happened next escalated the situation from awkward to embarrassing, as the man pulled out his phone and began scrolling through what appeared to be confirmation emails and travel documents. "Look, I have the confirmation right here," he said, turning his phone screen toward Isabella. "Booking confirmation number, hotel address, everything is correct. This reservation definitely exists." Isabella glanced at the phone but didn't look closely at the details because she had already made up her mind that this was not a legitimate guest, regardless of whatever documents he might have fabricated. "Sir, I understand this is frustrating, but I can assure you that we don't have any reservation under those names. If you'd like, I can try to accommodate you as a walk-in guest, but I'll need to see identification and a credit card for payment." Her offer was meant to be helpful, but carried an undertone suggesting that she was humoring someone she believed to be delusional. The man's patience was clearly being tested, but he remained calm as he reached into his wallet and produced what appeared to be a Portuguese passport, along with several credit cards. "Here's my identification," he said, placing the documents on the marble counter. "Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, born February 5, 1985 in Funchal, Madeira, exactly as it says in the reservation system." Isabella picked up the passport with the confidence of someone who expected to expose a fake document, but as she examined the official Portuguese government identification, her certainty began to waver. The passport appeared completely authentic, with all the proper security features, watermarks, and official seals, and the photograph clearly showed the same face as the man standing in front of her. The name matched exactly what had claimed, and all the biographical details seemed consistent with what she knew about the real Cristiano Ronaldo, but her mind still struggled to accept that this could actually be happening. As Isabella continued examining the passport, other hotel staff members began to notice the situation unfolding at the front desk. The concierge had walked over to see if assistance was needed, and several guests in the lobby had turned their attention toward the conversation. One elderly gentleman approached the desk and addressed the man directly. "Excuse me, aren't you Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer?" he asked in French-accented English. "My grandson is a huge fan, and I think I recognize you from television." The interaction caused Isabella to look up from the passport with growing alarm as she realized that other people were also recognizing this man as the genuine Cristiano Ronaldo, which meant that either this was an incredibly elaborate group delusion, or she had been refusing to believe the identity of one of the world's most famous people for the past 10 minutes. The elderly gentleman continued his conversation with obvious excitement. "I knew it was you. My grandson will never believe that I met Cristiano Ronaldo in person. Could I possibly get a photograph to show him?" Their quest was made with such genuine enthusiasm, and the man's response was so naturally gracious and accommodating, that Isabella finally began to accept the impossible reality that she had been arguing with the actual Cristiano Ronaldo about whether he was actually himself. The absurdity of the situation hit her like a physical blow, as she realized the magnitude of her mistake and the professional embarrassment she had just created for herself. And the hotel, she quickly opened the hotel's computer system and began searching more carefully for the reservations he had been so confident didn't exist. Within moments, Isabella found the booking exactly where it should have been listed under Cristiano Ronaldo, with all the details matching perfectly, including the dates, the room type, and the special requests that had been noted by the reservations team when the booking was originally made. The confirmation had been processed 3 days earlier and flagged as a VIP guest requiring special privacy and security considerations. Her failure to locate the reservation had been the result of her own assumptions and careless searching, rather than any problem. With the booking system, the discovery of the legitimate reservation combined with the growing crowd of people recognizing and approaching Ronaldo left Isabella feeling mortified and desperate to salvage the situation before it became an even bigger embarrassment for everyone involved. "Mr. Ronaldo, I am so incredibly sorry." Isabella began, her voice shaking with a mixture of embarrassment and panic. "I found your reservation right here. I don't know how I missed it before. You're absolutely right about everything. and I apologize for wasting your time and questioning your identity." Her apology was sincere, but she could see that word of the incident was already spreading through the lobby as other guests and staff members began whispering and pointing in their direction. The situation was rapidly becoming the kind of public spectacle that luxury hotels work hard to avoid, especially when it involved mistreating a guest of Ronaldo's stature during such a high-profile weekend. The potential damage to the hotel's reputation was enormous, and Isabella knew that her job was probably in jeopardy as a result of her handling of the situation. Ronaldo's response to Isabella's apology was far more gracious than she had any right to expect, given how she had treated him. "Isabella," he said, reading her name tag, "it's okay, these things happen. I understand that you were just trying to do your job and protect the hotel from people who might try to impersonate guests." His willingness to excuse her behavior and provide a face-saving explanation for her mistakes showed a level of class and emotional intelligence that impressed everyone within earshot, including hotel management, who had by now been alerted to the situation and were hovering nearby, ready to intervene if necessary. "You were being cautious and professional, which are good qualities in this business. I'm not upset about the confusion." His words were clearly intended to diffuse the tension and minimize Isabella's embarrassment, but they also demonstrated the kind of character that had made him beloved by fans around the world. As Isabella processed Ronaldo's room assignment and prepared his key cards, she tried to express her gratitude for his understanding while also ensuring that the rest of his check-in experience would be flawless. "Mr. Ronaldo, thank you so much for being so kind about this. I promise that everything else will be perfect during your stay. Is there anything special I can arrange for you to make up for this unfortunate beginning?" Her offer was genuine, and Ronaldo seemed to appreciate the sincerity behind it, but his responses showed that he was more interested in moving past the incident than in dwelling on it or seeking any kind of compensation. "Just make sure my room is quiet and private. That's all I need, Isabella, and don't worry about what happened tonight. By tomorrow morning, Noon will remember this conversation, but everyone will remember how you handled yourself professionally under pressure." His ability to reframe the situation as a positive learning experience rather than a failure showed remarkable emotional maturity. The incident could have ended there, with Ronaldo simply taking his room keys and disappearing into the elevator. But what happened next turned the embarrassing mistake into one of the most memorable nights of Isabella's career as he prepared to leave the front desk. Ronaldo paused and addressed her directly. "Isabella, I can see that you work very hard and that you care about doing your job well. Those are rare qualities, and they will take you far in this industry." He then reached into his wallet and pulled out a business card. "This is my management company's contact information. If you ever decide you want to work in sports management or athlete relations, have them call me and mention tonight. I think you have the right instincts for this business. You just need to trust them more." The unexpected job offer left Isabella speechless and transformed what had been the worst professional moment of her life into an opportunity that would change her entire career trajectory. News of the incident spread quickly through the hotel's staff and management, with reactions ranging from amusement to horror at how close they had come to creating a major public relations disaster for the property. The hotel's general manager personally apologized to Ronaldo the following morning and offered various compensations for the inconvenience, but Ronaldo declined them all, explaining that Isabel had simply been doing her job conscientiously and that no harm had been done. The manager was so impressed by Ronaldo's gracious handling of the situation that he used it as a training example for all staff members about the importance of treating every guest with respect, regardless of appearances or preconceptions. The story became part of the hotel's internal culture, and Isabella became something of a legend among her colleagues for accidentally arguing with Cristiano Ronaldo about his own identity. 6 months later, Isabella contacted Ronaldo's management company and was invited to interview for a position with their sports marketing division. Her experience in luxury hospitality, combined with her proven ability to remain professional under pressure, made her an ideal candidate for managing relationships between athletes and their commercial partners. She washered within a week and eventually became one of the most successful sports marketing executives in Europe, specializing in helping athletes navigate the complex world of luxury brand partnerships, and high-end endorsement deals, her career transformation was directly attributable to that embarrassing night at the front desk when she learned that sometimes the most important opportunities come disguised as professional disasters. Years later, when Isabella had become a successful sports marketing executive, she would often tell the story of the night. She refused to believe Cristiano Ronaldo was actually Cristiano Ronaldo, using it as an example of how assumptions and preconceptions can blind us to obvious realities and unexpected opportunities. He spent 10 minutes arguing with one of the most famous people in the world about his own identity, because I couldn't believe that someone so successful would be walking around like a normal person, she would say in speeches to hospitality and marketing professionals. But Cristiano taught me that night that truly successful people don't need to prove themselves to anyone. They're secure enough in their achievements to be gracious even when others doubt them. And that's a lesson that applies to every aspect of business and life. Her story became a popular case study in customer service training programs and business schools as an example of how to turn mistakes into opportunities for growth and learning.